Previously on... You know what? Screw it. This is the third previously on I've done. If you don't get the point by now and you're only here for the haha funny sound effects, maybe this video will be more your style. We killed a robot dog. That's it. The guards just down the road were significantly stronger than any we've met by now. Their power was immense, and their unbreakable shields of justice shuddered with each... Nah, I just slashed through them like basically every roadblock in this game. Wow, what a beautiful day on the Kerch Bridge in Crimea. I hope nothing bad will... Yeah, so I kept trying to hold forwards, but the rotation of the camera caused me to jump off twice. Eventually I remembered how to use my legs and successfully evaded death for at least the next 5 minutes. At least that's what I thought until this guy came into frame. Yeah, so this pathetic excuse for a boss fight is called Hammerhead. It's literally just a dude in a helicopter firing missiles and shooting at you. I've taken down giant robots, femboy samurais, invisible warriors, that one funny cat, and the game has the audacity to think that I would be stuck trying to fight an enemy so basic that Captain America could beat it. Well, they were right. For some reason, I find it so incredibly difficult to do any level of precision aiming in this game, and so 90% of this fight ended up being me running back and forth, desperately looking for more rocket launcher ammo. The other 10% of the time was just me putting down my controller to check how long I had to wait until I could fight the sexy French lady. After this Russian roulette, where I couldn't decide whether to blow myself up or the boss, I finally managed to focus. And after some rocket slashes, I turned the copter into over 360 pieces of rubble. My record is 1,000, by the way. Alright, it's about this time in the game where things start to get a bit more long form. You see, early on it was boss fight, boss fight, boss fight, mini boss fight, you're supposed to lose, that's the end of the level. At this point though, things are beginning to get more long haul. You see, we actually have to do something called trying now. And yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of that, so we'll make it quick. I cut through more civilians and enemies alike, and with ease I make it to this door. It was locked though, so Boris told me that I needed to find the guard that had an implant in the left hand that would make the thingy open. I shredded all of them. After once again not facing any consequences for my actions, I immediately cut through everyone in this pavilion. The one thing of note is this guy right here. He looks like one of the normal enemies, but you see, he's not. While the other ones wear black clothes, he wears a white shirt. That makes him special. And he takes about 10 times as long to kill. It's nothing a seasoned veteran like myself couldn't handle, of course.
What? This can't be. I would be outraged on behalf of them, because even if I don't think there's any wild.
I agree, and I think one of the issues too going back.
Woman! So Mistral's opening cutscene is actually fairly long compared to the rest of the game. Basically, she says, I was born in a war-torn country just like you, so we're basically the same person. Also, let's kill civilians. Raiden says, that's no good, and she gets aggressive. For this fight, Mistral uses a polearm made out of hands, which, you know, I can only think of one better way to use those hands. Carpentry. That aside, this fight is very annoying in the first phase. Throughout the entire thing, these little ball dudes follow you around, constantly jumping at you, trying to lock you into a grab. You cannot stand still or you'll be overwhelmed. On top of that, Mistral also gets a grab attack which can't be blocked. Luckily, it's basically impossible to not break out of it. Things were going rough considering I was only at 5%, but luckily I was able to get her in a corner and did some huge damage. Once you do enough damage, she staggers, and you could break her polearm. I continue to beat on her until she kicks me back. I get knocked into a healing item, which sends me all the way back up to 100, and she kinda dips for a bit. After fixing her polearm, she joins the fight again. I immediately get a parry and take out half of her arms, and she is put on the defensive. She tries to throw one at me, but I was nowhere near her. Like, at all. She jumps down one last time and catches me off guard in this little cutscene. She goes for a grab and I manage to cut her polearm in half before she could finish it, launching me back at a pole, kicking her like 80 feet, and then I jump after her. This part of the fight changes drastically. The whole idea is that it's the exact same as before, but you could only go forwards and backwards. Not fun. She has access to a lot more moves as well. The trick is, you just have to stay behind her as much as you can and not let her combo you with the little dudes. Honestly, I found it's better to just completely ignore them at this point, because even though they do trip you up occasionally, they always respawn so goddamn fast. It's not. I just rinse and repeat a few runs of kicking her while she tries to jump away, and eventually she gets down low enough to enter the final phase. And this is where the music kicks in. You know things get real when she activates Beyblade mode. The third phase is exactly the same as the first, except she has access to all the extra attacks she got in phase 2, and she could do this whack-ass wheel attack. Almost every hit stuns you, so you would do really good to avoid those while you can. But she is slow, and you do get a wide arena to kind of maneuver around her. If you're still struggling, you could always just parry her and cut off all her arms, which leaves her basically defenseless for around 5 to 10 seconds. After that, it's not particularly hard to finish her off. Just get a little bit more chip damage in, and it is done. That's the wall. There we go. Get, Frozen? I'm glad she died before she heard me say that.